Here's the UN report itself. Now let me tell you about one piece of jargon first, NDC. You saw that in the CBC story. Here's their official definition. Nationally determined contribution. Submissions by countries that have ratified the Paris Agreement, which presents their national efforts to reach the Paris Agreement's long-term temperature goal of limiting warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. So it's all the promises that politicians make of the UN. That's an NDC. It's a promise. And by the way, no country, especially not Canada, has kept their promise. The point is to make the promise, get a lot of PR, get the CBC to say how good you are. It's not to actually destroy your economy. No one's keeping these promises, these NDCs. And there's just one more piece of jargon, conditional NDCs. What a bunch of baloney, eh? But here's how they define that. Conditional NDC. NDC proposed by some countries that are contingent on a range of possible conditions, such as the ability of national legislatures to enact the necessary laws, ambitious action from other countries, realization of finance and technical support, or other factors. So a conditional NDC is another way of saying a daydream, a stretch goal, something that will never happen given that the regular promises aren't happening. This is just fantasy land now. The UN's good at that. So here's the part in the report about the 3.2 degrees. You remember that was sort of the terrifying part in the CBC story? Here's the report. If current unconditional NDCs are fully implemented, there's a 66% chance that warming will be limited to 3.2 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. If conditional NDCs, those are the fantasies, are also effectively implemented, warming will likely reduce by about 0.2 degrees Celsius. Is that it? So let me translate. If every country in the world were to do everything they promised to do to fight global warming, the UN says the world is still going to get 3.2 degrees warmer in the year 2100. Now, I don't believe it, of course. They always be wrong. Every single year they're wrong. They're always wrong in the same direction. These are the people who said there would be no snow by now. But let's assume that these liars of the United Nations are actually telling the truth. So they're saying if every single country in the world keeps their global warming promise, the world will still warm by 3.2 degrees by the year 2100. But here's the good news, people. If every country in the world goes even further than their promises and does all their fantasy goals, which will never happen, of course, but even in that daydream scenario, the UN says the globe will still warm. It won't make a difference. It won't stop the warming. It will still be 3.0 degrees warmer in the year 2100. So even if we spent the trillions of dollars a year, instead of warming by 3.2 degrees in the year 2100, it'll just warm by 3.0 degrees by the year 2100. No difference to any impact. It's just the same thing, but we'll have to spend $2, $3, $4 trillion a year per year for the next 80 years. Who would be that stupid? Well, the CBC. That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show, which is a show I do every day. I do a monologue, interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at premium.rebelnews.com.